Good morning or good afternoon. I'm really very delighted to take part in this conference commemorating the 17th anniversary of the inception of the non-alignment movement. I'm very delighted because it's an opportunity for me to share a couple of thoughts about what I think about the movement, its inception, of course, but also the achievements, that the movement has, made over years. Even though I'm really very skeptical about many things that have been reached up till now. Anyway, when the movement started, or the idea of establishing a movement in Bandung, there was what I call a lot of hope and expectations. And over years, of course, even though the movement, was like how do you call it, developing its concept in the in over years, we witnessed that the movement has been driven from its first goal and objective, which taken away the state members from siding with either the east or the west. And over years, of course, things have you know uh, you know been like not reaching what it has been, what the movement had been aimed at in the first place. Anyway, this is a very tricky issue, but nevertheless, one has to be positive and optimistic, and saying at least that the movement kept, some sort of solidarity between the member states, even though fences and hurdles had been, in the run. Anyway, like I said, three words and one last word that I'm going to use in this in my remarks: hope, because the member states were hoping, of course, to cement some sort of solidarity and to face, like I said, the other two main superpowers and the people who are, like hovering around. And the second word is expectation. The expectation was very high, given the fact that peoples belong to so-called third world or developing countries were not expecting that the movement would, bring some answers and meet their expectation. And then we ended up when the Cold War ended up somehow, at least hypothetically, the people ended up having some sort of an illusion. So why is the movement? Why is the movement is losing the ground right now? For the same reason that all organizations that are built up in big hope, ended up like losing the, how we call it, the sight, or even losing the insight. So the problem is that every member state which whose leaders was how we call it, moving and behaving with a lot of hope, and the movement lost its main goal, given the fact that every member state tried to use the movement to achieve or to meet its own expectation and to advance its own agenda in terms of national interest, and of course political and geopolitical agenda. So this is the first thing that made the movement not being so brilliant in terms of achievement. Uh, the values of solidarity, of course, freedom, the right to self-determination, all of these principles are very noble in general, have ended up like being driven from their first, goal. And let's say that the no alignment movement has been used instead of facing the two superpowers and the intermediary powers, like in the former colonial powers. The movement has been used over years, and basically the big game was still, made by these superpowers. And up till now, even though we are trying to speak about what it is called in the global south, even though we are very optimistic about it, we are facing the same problem. I'm going to go back to such a point in later. Anyway, we this contradiction between national interest and the solidarity, hope, has been witnessed over years. And now we are not very confident about the outcome or the achievement that everybody was waiting for. So we ended up like having some sort of an illusion of losing the ground, first thing. And the second thing, the illusion of, witnessing or being aware of the fact that the movement has been used to somehow by the other countries, which brings me to think about this, what we call in academic field, how we call it, the epistemologic cut. I don't know how to say it in English, but it should be like that. It's like la copie épistémologique, which which means that basically that for every 10 years, decade or so, there is a shift in international geopolitics, and the actors involved have to make sure that they have their role to play in this arena. And unfortunately, when it comes to the non-aligned movement, we see that every actors, every member state has been or is trying to address its issue, either for domestic purpose or for international geopolitical purposes. But anyway, in either case, the problem is that these countries ended up, like I mean, all member states of belonging to the no aligned movement, they ended up like siding with one bloc against another. But mainly, the no aligned movement was meant to be defending or supporting or sustaining self-determination, for example, the right to self-determination. But the main thing is that the behind the scenes idea was that they should side with the socialist or communist ideas. We have witnessed this in the Arab world, of course, North Africa, basically, where we had this sort of a fight or struggle between member states for some reasons, but mainly to advance national interest problems. So this is something that is very unusual in terms of fighting or struggling for freedom and liberty, and national development goals. So these are some sort of ideas that I want to share with you, but I'm not basically a scholar, but an expert somehow, given my professional career. So you may have noticed that I'm just hesitating. This is what we call the formation professionnelle. So I want to not to give more details about what I think, if because the idea of this gathering is to think together about the best way to address the positive and the negative in the non-aligned movement. Uh, let's address one other thing is the concept that have been used by the movement over years. For example, the right to self-determination, because in the minds of many decision makers belonging to the South or to the uh, non-aligned movement, the idea for them is self-determination means organization of a referendum and ending up by having independence, which is if the idea of solidarity was to get people together and to safeguard the territorial integrity of states. Self-determination in many cases had undermined and has undermined the sovereignty and integrity of territorial integrity of many states. Another principles, ideas like anti-Islamism, anti-Semitism, racism, xenophobia, and things like that. These concepts had been or have been or are still being driven from their main goal, which is to bring people together and try to solve problems and not to fall in a swamp of contradiction and dichotomies. So this is something that I would say make me feel like very not happy with the outcome, given because I belong to a country, Morocco has been suffering from such misperceptions of what is the right to self-determination and other noble principles that are the guidelines of the international community. If I have to put it like that. So. Uh, like I said, because I'm just taking a note. Like I said, what we have to say right now about the movement is still does the movement has some sort of a ground to fit or to stay on or something like that. Does the movement mean that, for example, the global South would meet some sort of goals that are objectives that the no-aligned movement failed to achieve? What would be, the correlation, the differences, and what would be safe for the new global South and no-aligned movement to advance the agenda of freedom, solidarity, and things like that. So this is a question that needs to be addressed for them. But like I said, when I use the three words, hope, expectation, illusion, I uh, I I wanted also to add another one as last, just to make sure that everything is working in the right way, is optimism, and that's why I am very optimistic when it comes to new no aligned movement should work if we set aside and we forget about the political dichotomies, fights over borders or something, and work for like to address the global issues like development, like poverty, literacy, things like that, global warming. This would be something that would make me feel very happy, and this also fits with the paper concept that our institute, our Moroccan Institute for the Global South, has presented to us in order to get and to participate in this conference. What I would say at the end of my thing is that we in the South, if we think global, maybe we would miss the target. Why? Because there are a lot of differences, a lot of issues to be taken care of on domestic internal level, and the equality that everybody is aiming at is not we can't be it can't be verified in many countries. And if we take a look at what's happening in the North Africa, for example, our region, even though there are some countries who are hoping and working for peace, at least to get some sort of peace. There are others who are still, like I said, they have cemented their mind in in different to reach different directions. So this is a thing that should be at least solved in the foreseeable future. I hope so. Anyway, so so that was there is what I wanted to share with you. Of course, I didn't meet the target, and I was supposed to speak more than this, but what would be the point of repeating the same idea that I have shared with you? I would end my communication, my remarks by saying that I am very happy to take part in this conference, but basically to highlight the hard work making by my friend say Mr. Bouchikhi, who is a good scholar and working very humbly. But this is just to thank him for giving me the opportunity to take part in this conference. I hope that I was not, heavy, in speaking the way I did. Thank you very much.